Welcome to TPMG Health Talk. Join us for valuable insights and practical advice on health topics that matter to you most, delivered by our top medical professionals. At Tidewater Physicians Multi-Specialty Group, we're dedicated to providing high-quality, physician-directed care to the Hampton Roads community. Subscribe now and visit mytpmg.com for more resources. Now let's dive into today's episode. On this episode, we're joined with Gale Pearson, a registered dietitian and certified diabetes educator. With over 40 years of experience in nutrition counseling, she specializes in personalized meal planning. She's also passionate about the nutrition connection, helping individuals improve their health through tailored dietary strategies. Thank you for your time, Gale.
Great to be here.
Anyone who's ever had a busy schedule knows how tough it can be to make healthy food choices. Between work, family, and everything else, it's easy for healthy eating to take a back seat. What are some strategies to create a healthy eating routine when you have a busy schedule?
I find that being one of the biggest challenges with most of the patients that I see is how do you fit healthy choices into my hectic life? And we start with just finding out what they already do and just tweaking it a little bit to make it more convenient and more healthier choices that can still be not so time challenging. And so we like to keep people where they are and not make major changes, but small changes. Take me through your day is what I asked them to do. I said, take me through your day. And they said, this is what I got to do. I got to take the kid to the daycare, and then I've got to run this place. And then after working all day, I have to pick them up, and they have to go to 5,000 after-school activities. And then when we get home, it's too late to eat, and I'll just say, let's just grab something. But that's not unusual. So how do we make this better? What are you willing to do? What do you have time to do? And let's figure out this together, because we're making this together. And I'm not telling you what to do. I'm saying let's work through it and come up with a solution together. And they have a buy-in to it. So what can we do easy? Like I just had a patient today say, well, sometimes I don't get a chance to eat until I get to work. And I said, why don't we keep some things at work then? That's easy for you to put together while you're at work that, you can put together while you get there instead of forgetting it and then dropping by 7-Eleven because you forgot to get it. So it's what's easier for them. Sometimes people have hectic schedules like they might be a hairstylist. I see that all the time. I said, you need to put yourself on the schedule. You're doing head after head after head, but not making any time for when are you going to eat. So by the time you do eat, you're starving, and now it's whatever. So the longer you wait to eat, you get into whatever kind of eating. Whatever means whenever, and no choices are being made there. It's just whatever I can grab at the time. And so what we're looking at is how do I bring something to work? How do I plan ahead and say, I'm going to have a busy day. I better throw a sandwich in this bag, some fruit, and have it already planned so I don't have time to look for food and wait for it in line with 5 cars in front of me.
I know that what I do is I will sometimes put my lunchbox, have all the material out. I mean, if it's not something I'm going to, if something I'm going to microwave sure. or like a sandwich,
sure.
like that's at least I could try to prep the ingredients.
Right.
And like little things.
Little, small changes, because we're not trying to make people perfect. We're just trying to make it better. What are the better choices for you? And so that's why we can't put everybody in the same box. We can't say, you don't help people with a lot of lists of don'ts and can'ts. Like, what do you like to eat? Let's work around what you like and not what you think you should be eating, that somebody think you should be eating. What do you like? And let's tailor that, but let's make options for each meal that's easy for you, that you can just grab, go, and still work within your busy life. But you got to really do take the time to say, I have to stop and eat. And some people have so many hectic jobs now that I'm telling you, it's unbelievable where someone says, I don't have time to eat.
Why do you think that people don't prioritize eating?
That's the last thing people think about, though. They don't think about it until there's an urgency. They don't think about it until they have the low blood sugar. Once your blood sugar drops, you're so uncomfortably hungry, you can't make a wise decision.
How can we change that mindset? How do you encourage patients to change their mindset of prioritizing?
You're making food more of a priority because food is important. Your body needs to be nourished. You wouldn't drive by the gas station if your gas light was on. Your body doesn't tell you that, oh, please feed me. Yeah, it does that from a low blood sugar perspective, but you shouldn't have to eat if your body has to keep reminding you to. And I think we just need to know that the body has to have the proper nourishment. How do we do that and make that a priority in order for us to feel better, think better, and just be a healthier person? But if food is always on the back burner or the last resort, it will always be the last resort. So we'll just grab anything that's easier. We'll grab the chips. We'll grab the cookies. We'll grab something that doesn't need preparation. And I understand why people do that. This is a non-judgment zone here. So when I'm asking you questions, I'm not here to blame and shame. We want to know, how do I make that better? You like fruit, yeah, but how often do you eat it? I don't eat it but once a week because I don't get around to getting it or buying it or whatever you want to call it. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
If it's available, you would eat it. It's not that you don't like it. Oh, but I heard fruit was full of sugar and you shouldn't eat it. Oh, that's interesting. So why would anybody talk you out of a plant? Okay, it's a plant. So we don't want to put fruit in the category with a cookie. So even if, no matter what your condition is, no matter why I'm seeing you, nutrition has to make any condition better. So we're not going to take healthy food away to treat an illness. Why would anybody want to argue about what fruit you're going to eat? Why? I can show you how much fruit is a serving. Let's talk about that, but not talk about whether I should eat fruit or not, or a vegetable, or a plant, or a whole grain. Those kinds of foods are demonized now. So most people think the only way to eat healthy is to eat meat and fat all day. So they don't have a problem eating beef sticks and meat sticks all day, but they have a guilt trip over a piece of fruit or having a sandwich on a whole grain bread with just a normal eating. We have to get back to normal eating and being okay with that and not feeling guilty about it.
Absolutely.
We do. We have to make peace with food and know that it's not my enemy.
Well, many people struggle to eat healthy without breaking the bank. It's very hard during these times. And that's another excuse that I've heard too, is like, oh, it's too expensive
to eat healthy. I can't make people's priorities for them. And I don't get into people's pocketbooks, but I'm saying, what's more important? I mean, you pay for it on the front end or the back end. So you buy fruit in season. You buy food in season. If you know how to put food together, which I help people, everybody doesn't want to cook. If you tell me you don't want to cook and don't know how, I don't give you a cookbook. So I do have to make the healthiest, convenient food for you then, right? I have to give you healthier options in the convenient world. So it doesn't have to be perfect, but it could be better. And so when you buy prepared food, it's going to cost more. If you buying a $5 meal at Brendy's because it's cheaper than you making a meal, you could have bought a whole chicken for $5. If healthy food is expensive. Beans are the cheapest food you can buy. Rice is the cheapest food you can buy. This is not expensive food we're talking about. Potatoes are cheap. When you're not really looking at how do I make this a meal to feed 5 people without a lot of expense. It doesn't have to be expensive. And I can help people from all walks of life. I started out in public health, so I can help people with all walks of life, no matter what your budget is. You let me know that if cost is an issue, I want to know that. So when I make recommendations, I'm making it tailored to what you have available. And when people say that they have limited food availability, then I said, well, tell me what you have on hand, and let's make something out of it. I'm not going to take you anywhere you can't go or you don't even want to go. So it is important to ask people what their challenges are, and then I help them with the struggles or the challenges that they're having, as opposed to giving advice without even asking anybody anything. You have to assess, what's your life like before I get into intervention? You don't immediately get into, well, you should do this and you should do that. That's not helping people when you haven't even figured out what is the problem, or is there a problem? Everything is not wrong that they're doing.
Mm-hmm, yeah. Mm-hmm. And it's not just about what we eat, but how we think about food.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Developing that positive relationship with food is the key, I think, to making a lot of those healthy choices stick. So how can individuals focus on lasting habits rather than getting stuck on restrictive diets?
Oh, I like that question. A healthy relationship focusing on the habits that lead to bad decisions. What are the habits that I have that continually make me make the wrong decision? So that's why when people come back for follow-up, I say, well, tell me what's going well and tell me what we need to work on today. And they'll say, this is what happened yesterday. I knew I was doing it wrong, and I just fell into I just made the wrong decision, and I know. I said, well, tell me what you learned from it. How would you do that differently next time? And they said, oh, I guess I wouldn't skip lunch, so I wouldn't go and binge on all the food I found in the teacher's lounge. Okay, so that's how you would do it differently. Wonderful, you learn from it then. Let's learn from the experience so we don't want to keep the same habit going. If you keep skipping lunch and overeating at dinner, what do you think you need to, what could change that? Well, maybe I should start eating lunch. Oh, okay. Well, I like people to come up with their own solutions too when we think it through and say, what gave you that uncomfortable hunger? What leads to that? What emotions are your trigger? Mad? Sad? Glad? What leads you to thinking that food is now needed for comfort, even when you're not hungry? And I ask people, I say, when you ate what you ate, were you hungry? When you ate the 3 apple turnovers, were you hungry? No, just because it was there. How about the 5 cookies? Oh, it just was there. I wasn't hungry. I just walked by the kitchen and saw them and just picked them up. That's what we call mindless eating. Mindless. We want to make it more mindful. Food should be intentional and not just as a response to boredom, as a response to my emotions, as a response to how I deal with life, and how I deal with life. Because it can be there for you. But if that's what you continue to turn to when you're stressed or when you're sad and when someone has upset you, if food is the one that you keep turning to, that's the habit you have to break. Let's come up with another strategy on how to respond to how you're feeling. Let's come up with something else to do besides eat when I'm bored. Let's make a list. Make a list of some things that you think you could do besides eat. And I have a starter list. Look at some things here that you think you can do and say, oh, I could have done that. Let's create another distraction other than continually looking for food for comfort and for, entertainment. How about that? Understand the illness that you have. What is the physiology behind the illness? Because diabetes is not caused by food. I think that needs to be cleared because people come in here with the guilt. They come in with guilt. What did I do to get this? What did I do to guilt this? What did I do? Ma'am, your pancreas is not making enough insulin. That's the definition of diabetes. You have a deficiency in the amount of insulin that you're making. So food is helping control this. I'm going to show you how much food you can have where you won't have a high blood sugar. But eating correctly does not prevent your body from what it cannot do. So explaining the physiology of the illness helps people because they come in here automatically thinking, okay, it's something I did to get diabetes. And if I just eat right, it'll go away. That's what frustrates people and gets them not understanding that this is what your body is not able to do. It's not just what you are doing. Nobody wants high blood pressure. Nobody wants high cholesterol. Nobody wants high heart disease. But can I do something to make this condition better?
Absolutely.
That's what I'm here for. Let's make this better. Let's make this better and workable and sustainable for you where this illness is not going to get worse. Let's make it better. Mm-hmm. As opposed to thinking that if I eat well, it'll go away. That's the misconception of, yes, we can improve any condition, but the amount of the food is what raises blood sugar. It is not the food. It is the amount of it. So when we talk about people with high blood sugars who are having high blood sugars, we not only talk about how much they can have, how was the food prepared and how much, but also, some people need medications to bring the blood sugar down. And so that's a reality. It's not that we're pushing meds. It's just that the physiology of the illness, you do need some medications that will help bring the blood sugar down in addition to you eating well. Are there people who can control their blood sugars without medicine? Absolutely. But that's their diabetes. It's not, everybody's diabetes is theirs.
And it's nice you get to know those personal relations,
yes.
like people personally,
yes.
and have those deep relationships. And so someone who's been in this field for so long, like, what is your favorite part about what you bring to TPMG as a nutritionist. Like you have so much wealth of knowledge, and it can be very frustrating because it seems so simple, but you're here and you love making connections. Like, what do you love about this job and kind of educating people?
I'm passionate about what I do, but I also love people. And I want each individual to know how to improve their own health and be their own advocate, to enable them to make the best choices without doubting themselves. And then when they understand that, you mean this is what I can do to help, yes. And then you get results, and it's sustainable, and it's doable for you, and it's not what somebody said I should do, then it's very rewarding when you get to know people for who they are. You respect their culture. You respect who they are and all the challenges that they have, that you're going to school. You've got 3 kids. You're working full time. You're an at-home mom. You got a full-time business, and you're trying to juggle a disease like diabetes, and you're trying to juggle your medicine, and how do I take my blood sugar, and how do I do all this with still being a good mom and a good wife? And I would love to help you do that. And that's what I do. I said, this is real. You are struggling. It's not as simple as people want to make it, because you've got to be everything to everybody and still manage a disease. But we need to listen to people and know, what is my struggle? I'm helping you with the struggle, and let's get over the hump. But respecting you and looking at you and listening to you, people appreciate that, as opposed to just looking at them and saying, oh, just stop eating carbs, you'll be all right. What in the world, what kind of conversation was that? Oh, just don't eat out, you'll be okay. But you didn't even ask the person if they ate out. Well, how would that help her if she don't even eat out? So you can't give everybody the same information and say, here's a Band-Aid. I know you're bleeding profusely right now, but here's a Band-Aid. That's what that kind of one statement does to people. Just give them a Band-Aid. They're still bleeding when you leave, after you've told them, just don't eat carbs, you'll be all right. Eat everything else in sight. Just don't eat white food. Don't eat carbs. They're the evil person. And people leave with this idea of guilt every time they eat something that's even healthy. Why would you feel guilty after eating oatmeal, ma'am? Because they told me I couldn't eat any carbs anymore, and I thought oatmeal was good. And I gave up my fruit, and I gave up my low-fat milk, and I just don't know what else to eat now. It just breaks my heart when people are thinking, I don't know what to do anymore. They've taken everything away from me.
Well, a bad word that I hear often is carbs, right?
Oh.
It's always a bad word. Are carbs good or bad, Gale? What is the definitive answer here?
Well, the carbs that you need are the plants that you're supposed to be eating that came out of the ground. All of those foods are carbohydrates. If it came out of the ground, it is a carbohydrate. The only food that comes out the ground that's not a carbohydrate are nuts. All nuts are healthy, but they're not carbohydrates. They're healthy fats. So they have to be controlled too. So all of these foods have a place in your diet. There's no one way to eat healthy. It's just, is there variety? Is there portion control? Is there portion control? And is there portion control? Did I just drive that home again? Okay. So,
let's go. Portion control.
Well, I can eat the healthy food in the wrong bowl. And it's not the food, ma'am. It was the portion that you ate. Let's keep the food. And let's change the portion here.
Or the amount of salad dressing. Oh,
just everything. Just being more mindful and intentional, and not thinking that it's just free. It is something that needs to be controlled. And I think that maybe the word is what gets people. I don't like the word control. How about just a smaller portion of what you're already eating, as opposed to getting rid of what you're eating? And everybody's not ready to just stop everything. Oh, just stop doing that. Stop doing this. Don't do this. Well, maybe they're not ready for that. Maybe they're ready for just a smaller portion of what that is. It's okay to say, oh, you know what? You used to have more. And people come back and say, you know what? I feel so good about myself now, because yesterday I went to a party and I normally would have, I'm quoting her, I normally would have had the cupcake and the pie. But yesterday when I went to my family's gathering, I only had a small cupcake, and I felt so good that I didn't have to eat the rest of it that I would have eaten. And I said, you're doing so much better. You are eating less. You are making good choices, but you don't feel deprived. You didn't go in there with a sad face and say, oh, I can't have any of this. That's not normal. you need to know that food is fellowship with a lot of families and a lot of cultures. So you want to say, how do I make a better choice when I go to all my family wonderful gatherings, as opposed to saying, I can't have any of this anymore.
Absolutely amazing. So true. And before we wrap up, is there anything you'd like to share about how listeners can benefit from working with a dietitian, or how best to get in touch with you?
I think with questions with regards to any type of nutrition-related disease, a dietitian can help. We don't sell products. We just help you where you are in your life. We tailor it, individualize it, help you understand the condition that we're trying to treat. You can see a dietitian without treating anything. If you just want to eat healthier, how do I do that? Where do I start? How do I make better choices when I do eat out? How do I feed my family and not have to make 3 different meals for everybody? How do I deal with picky eaters? We're here for you. Whatever your nutrition-related questions are, bring it to me. Challenge me. I like challenges. So it doesn't have to be a weight issue. It doesn't have to be a chronic disease issue. It can just be, you know what? I just want to make better choices, and I don't know how to do that. Well, this is what we do. We work with the how, not the don'ts and the can'ts. How do I make my life better? How do I make better choices? How do I reduce the frustration and discouragement that I get from my efforts? I thought I was doing the right thing, but I'm not getting the results. Let me help you with what you're frustrated with. Let me help you with the confusion or the whatever way you're feeling about it, but have a healthier relationship with food, no matter what, and make peace with it and understand that it's not my enemy. And food is for nourishment and enjoyment. But they can contact us. We're here at Nutrition Services. You can reach us at 757-232-8768.
Well, thank you, Gale, for joining us. And thank you, audience, for tuning in to TPMG Health Talk. If you have any questions or would like to check us out, go to mytpmg.com and stay tuned for our next episode. Thanks.
The information shared on today's podcast is not intended to be medical advice, nor is it meant to replace a professional consultation with a healthcare provider. The opinions expressed in this podcast do not necessarily reflect those of TPMG or its providers and physicians.